Okay, just some preliminary results here. I've just started to do my second run on these points that I put out here in this open field at a park, and and of course I just grabbed the GPS. I left it running, so it was in a vehicle, and so my first point, I was like, oh, a little disappointed. Well, I'm just on my third here, and now that we're out in some clear air, and I think we're getting some, maybe I had built in some distortion from the RV. So I'm going to go back and visit that first point again. But in any case, here's one of the points that I used right here at the bottom of my... I just found a stone out here in the middle of the field, put an X on it so I would be sure that which one it was. And of course, it's out here in a field of grass. I couldn't find it, but of course the location was recorded. So I followed that, came back right to it, and this one looks like it's right on top of my original point. This is I'm really impressed right now, and I just wanted to stop and catch my excitement because wow, this is pretty outstanding. Good day, everyone. This is Will with White Spruce Tech. Today I'm in the field, and I'm in the field to review this little GPS here. This is the P-70 Ultra from Columbus GPS, and I tested this fellow's little brother here a couple of years ago, and it took me quite a while to figure out some settings in that to get good results with the P7. And it's a really nice GPS. It's, the best feature is, just like the P-70, it has the GPS. It has the GPS antenna remote here. Here's the little brain box, and it plugs into a power supply. Had other similar GPSs like this that have a built-in battery. When that battery goes, it's either expensive or impossible to replace. So this is just absolutely a fabulous design. You've got your remote cable here so that you can get that GPS up above you. You're a big bag of water and you distort GPS signals. I'm going to be using this monopod here in a test today, and on top I've got a 3D printed little base that I've made for it. There's a standard 1/4x20 bolt in here, and that's great because it's got a magnetic base, clips right in here, little hole for the cord. Very simple, inexpensive way to fit this GPS and use it in the field. So I'm going to be using some pins and then probably some distinctive spots that I can find and mark out there in this open area, and see how this performs. The difference between the P7 and the P-70, this unit right here, is that this unit is corrected. And when I reviewed the P7, I thought that was the one thing that I wished that the P7 had, was some way to correct the signal. Well, this GPS has come out, and also locally they've just turned on a new N-trip correction signal. So if you're within a cell phone signal and within 100 kilometers of this correction site, you should be able to get sub-centimeter level correction. That's what the makers of the P-70 have in the literature, and we're going to go see how it performs. Now, I've been using it here for the last few days in the campground to make some measurements right here on this very distinctive spot of my picnic table, and it's been performing well, but I've got a lot of distortion here, a lot of trees and such. So I'm going to go out in the field where I'm going to lose that distortion and see how this thing works in the real world. Give me that. So what I'm doing here is out in an open field here at a municipal park, and I'm going to try to take some measurements, and then I'm going to take a paddle on the lake, I think, come back in an hour or so and try to get those measurements again and see how well this correction is working when there's there shouldn't be really anything disturbing or distorting the signal here, and see if this correction service really gives you a super accurate location. Okay, so here's the results from my field analysis of the P-70 Ultra. This is the GPS course that I laid out. I just went to a big open area in a municipal park where I live, and there was a big open field here and a big parking area. Not very much in the way of distortion. If you look off to the right, just down at the bottom here, oops, back one, there we go. There's just the tail end of a lake on the map here, and it's actually a little farther to the right is the edge of a pretty big water body here, so that might come into play here a little bit later. But in any case, these are the different places that I visited, and let's look at the results from each one. This is a parking barrier just off the edge of the parking lot, and actually this right here was the very first recording, and when I came back to it, I just picked the GPS up and turned it on, and so I thought that maybe I didn't give it enough warm-up time so I could see that it was off more than I expected. And sure enough, the next time I came back, it was only, so this is just over a meter. This is half a meter off on the barrier. Let's look at the let's look at the other results here. The elevation here is just over a meter off, a meter different between the two. And this is a territorial view of that barrier, so it was on one of these logs. I made a mark, came back and visited it. My monopod has a little bubble plumb on it, so I was made sure that my rod was also straight up and down. These are the results from just the top of this hill, so not very much elevation, but a little up higher. 166 and 183, so again, just not quite 2 meters there. This is a measured distance, and I used QGIS for this analysis to give credit. And 0.86 meters here. This is a stone that was just down the slope from the hill. Nice big open area, and you can look at the distance here. This is where I filmed the initial video, the opening segment for this. Just a few centimeters different. Really exciting observation. The elevations, though, is off here about more than 3 meters. So there's definitely a little difference in that. This was another very close result here. 12, not quite 13 centimeters off on this path. Again, very open area, away from everything else. I didn't get the second, or I think that was the first observation. I only had the one elevation reading there. This is a crack in the asphalt path there. About 1.5 meters off. It seemed kind of a recurring theme. This is the actual location. I knew I could find this particular crack again because there was a little marking paint left there. You can see this little X that I sharpied onto a stone, so to make sure that I could get back to exactly the right spot, the same spot that I'd measured the first time. I also measured this culvert. The other locations where the hill was up a little bit, the other ones were down pretty much at the same elevation, so I liked going down into this depression and trying to measure this culvert. Boy, again, I would definitely say from these readings, very reliably sub-meter solutions for these positions, and about 1 meter off in elevation. This was a place I marked in the parking area. It was distinctive, and I put a little X on this marker. 0.7 meters, so again, sub-meter, and the elevation off about 1 meter. That definitely did very widely. And again, I had this on a rod and checked that it was vertical on each situation, or in each time that I made a correction, or excuse me, every time that I recorded a position. This is the territorial view for the parking area, and looking at this, trying to figure out, boy, you know, I did expect things to possibly be a little closer, especially since I'm using that N-trip real-time correction. The reference station that I was using is about 15 kilometers away, so that's really close. There should be really no distinguishable problem with that distance. But I think that if you look in the photograph here, you see that there is quite a bit of vegetation here, and some of the other sites, same thing, is that there may be lines of trees or groups of trees. These here that are spread out, I'm not sure that I mean, you would really have to have a satellite behind one of these. This one is also the closest. The water body is just beyond that second row of trees in the background. So I think that there was some distortion down on the horizon. And when I've used other GPS, precise GPSs, almost all of them have some way to put in a subnet mask, some sort of to disregard all the satellites that are 15 or 20 degrees off the horizon. And I think that would help an awful lot. So it's not a hardware problem. The P-70 Ultra is giving you good data, but that data that's coming in is just distorted by the local topography. So I'm going to try to find some software that's going to allow me to kind of weed out the distorted signals. And I don't think that'll be a problem, because you see, well, here, I'll zoom in here in a second. This is a shot from the Bluetooth GPS application that Columbus GPS recommends. And look at this. I'm using 31 satellites. You could see, well, I cut off the bottom there. We could see more than 40, so it did cut off a few. See, only one of 17 GPS were in use, and I'm not sure why that was. So my next tasks to try to find out how to improve the precision of the data recorded from the P-70 is going to be to find some software that will give me better discretion as to which satellites I use, maybe how to apply that N-trip correction, and see if I can get this more reliably closer to what their published specs are, is that you're getting centimeter accuracy. I don't think that they're pulling your leg here. I think that they're definitely being honest and measuring that, but what I'm doing here is a different test than what you see on the website. Is that's finding a location, marking it, and then trying to return to that location and record in the same location. So I'm using a different constellation than the original calculation was made on. So definitely a little different than what they publish on the website. So again, fabulous GPS. Another thing I wanted to point out is that the next least expensive GPS in this class that will give you this level of data, even this reliably sub-meter data, is about $1,200. It's about $1,000 more expensive than this P-70 Ultra. So besides having this incredible form factor with the external battery, which is going to give you the one thing that's going to go bad in your battery. It doesn't matter if you spend $7,000 on your GPS, you're going to have that battery replaced. Not a problem with the P7 or the P-70 Ultra GPSs. The form factor is just absolutely my favorite. And with that cable, you can get it up above your head, put it on a nice, reliable set height survey rod, or this was just a very simple photographic tripod that I was using. So again, you're getting an incredible bargain and great
precision with this device. I'm going to keep my testing up, but this is my my first swing at field test of the P-70 Ultra. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like or subscribe. That would be great. If you have anything to say, please put comments below. If you found there's a problem with my methodology or some error that I made, please point it out and help me give a better, accurate, and detailed analysis of this device. So again, this is Will with White Spruce Tech. Thanks for watching.